And that wraps up our national news. Now we begin our new segment called Community Focus. This week we're going to Washington, D.C. with Allison Carney, who is the Communication and Outreach Coordinator of Nonprofit Roundtable of Greater Washington. Allison, tell me about what your organization actually does.
Well, we build the strength, visibility, and influence of the nonprofit sector. So we empower leaders, we amplify nonprofit voices, and we develop cross-sector collaborative partnerships.
So tell me what that actually means.
Well, let's start with the Future Executive Directors Fellowship. So this year we graduated our third class of fellows who went through intensive personal and professional development for 9 months. We also graduated our inaugural class of Frank Carell Fellows, and this fellowship is a public interest communications fellowship for first-generation college students.
So what are the outcomes of these initiatives?
Well, let's let the future EDs speak for themselves.
So 4 years ago, I think I learned that leadership definitely comes from within, but the ability to have a network of executive directors that you can rely on to be able to lead outside of your organization for the community was really important, and building that network is really important. And the role of an executive director is really to find your talent within your organization, to build that community and to partner with others.
You have individuals that are coming from a fundraising background, some people are coming from a program background, people are working on hunger and homelessness, people are working on the arts, and then we know that even though we're not working on the same issues, maybe have the same skill sets, we're building a network that we can reach out to one another, because we know in the future we're going to need to leverage that network to help improve our entire region. And so by having this shared experience, we're going to be more comfortable in reaching out and connecting with each other and really leveraging one another in the future.
So one thing that I think is really important and really special about our Future Executive Directors program is that it's not only training people who are going to be leading our nonprofit community forward in future years, but they're leaders right now. These are people who are deputy directors and finance directors and board members and volunteers and community leaders, and part of our program is giving them the confidence in each other and the cohort and the ability to support each other in their leadership now and into the future when they're ready to take on CEO roles.
In addition to the Future Executive Directors Fellowship, which trains future leaders, we also have a program that strengthens existing leaders called CEO Tables for 10.
CEO Tables for 10 are an opportunity for nonprofits to learn from and collaborate with each other. There are two valuable outcomes of any given CEO Tables for 10 series. There's the tangible outcomes. For example, one table shared with each other a best practice from their organization so that all could benefit from valuable lessons learned. The other outcome is the less tangible. It's the peer network developed.
So in fact, I just came from a table for 10, just finished that just a few moments ago, and to hear the ideas and to hear the different approaches and to see that while I might be larger than others, we all have some of the same needs, that's a very valuable resource.
And that's great. What do you do to increase the visibility of the nonprofit sector?
Well, this year, Nonprofit Montgomery wrote the report Beyond Charity, Nonprofit Business in Montgomery County. This report details the role of nonprofits in job growth and creation in the county itself.
So many organizations put effort into writing the reports, but then little into the follow-up. But you told me your report is different. Can you tell me how?
Well, not only did Nonprofit Montgomery write this groundbreaking report, but they also put as much energy into the follow-up and creating actual outcomes. I interviewed Luisa Montero Diaz, Nonprofit Montgomery Steering Committee member, and asked her to tell me a little bit more about that.
A report is really only as good as a plan to move it forward, to move the recommendations and the analysis and the results forward. Thus emerged Montgomery Moving Forward, which is really an organizing process that brings together leadership from different sectors in the community. So we have education, we have government, nonprofit, business, philanthropy, all the sectors of a community coming together to look at an issue that's of importance to the county. After the report was released at the symposium, and there was a lot of interest in the community about this, the county council, Montgomery County Council, held a hearing. That was a joint committee meeting of the HHS committee as well as the Housing and Economic Development Committee, which was, as I understand it, the first time that these two committees met together for this hearing. And at the hearing, it allowed representatives from Nonprofit Montgomery and Department of Economic Development and Department of Health and Human Services to answer questions that the county council members had about the report.
Another example of cross-sector collaboration is Caffeine, or the Capital Area Foreclosure Network.
Caffeine,
The Capital Area Foreclosure Network is a partnership between the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments and the Nonprofit Roundtable to assist housing counseling organizations that serve homeowners in the region that are facing foreclosure. CAFE's outcomes include receiving funding from the Freddie Mac Corporation, the United Way of the National Capital Area, and the Washington Area's Women's Foundation to serve an additional 1,200 homeowners through housing counseling and an additional 4,000 members of the community through outreach.
Now that's pretty cool. I heard you went through a pretty significant leadership change this year.
Yes, Chuck Bean, our executive director of 10 years, moved on to Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments.
But we have a very strong board and staff, not to mention our incredible members who support our work every day.
This year, we really used that and leveraged that strength to increase our influence in our jurisdictions. One of our biggest accomplishments this year was increased advocacy. And in all three jurisdictions, Maryland, Virginia, and DC, we amplified our advocacy more than we had ever before. Actually, our youngest affiliate, Nonprofit Virginia, became central to Medicaid expansion, and, well, let's let the professionals take it from here.
Nonprofit Virginia became the premier voice of nonprofits across the state of Virginia.
We're an integral part of the Medicaid expansion that happened because we were persistent and consistent in our advocacy and our messaging and talking to people, and really partnered with other groups to accomplish Medicaid expansion that none of us thought was going to happen.
400,000 Virginians will benefit from that vision when Medicaid expansion becomes law next year in Virginia.
And the advocacy didn't end in Virginia. We became a central voice in DC for nonprofits rallying for the creation of the $15 million One City Fund. We wrote letters, we made calls, and we testified on our members' behalf. And also, Montgomery County, we led groundbreaking advocacy to create more funding for nonprofits, which should be a model for us going forward as well as our members. Really, we did quite a lot this year.
It sounds like you did. Is there any message you'd like to leave our viewers with this evening?
Yes. The Nonprofit Roundtable only exists because of our membership. We never could have done any of this without our members and other supporters. So I want to say thank you to our members, funders, and other supporters. Oh, and one other thing.
Stronger together.
Stronger together.
Stronger together!
Stronger together.
Stronger together.
Stronger together.
Stronger together.
Stronger together.
And that wraps up our segment, Community Focus. Thanks for watching.